to them. And similarly, we have something called celebrations. Celebrations is celebrating your loved ones on their anniversaries, on their birthdays, on their death anniversaries. You could contribute to any of the causes that Vishwa showcases on its platform vishwa.org. You could, Annadanam for instance. There are a lot of people across the country who, when they go to hospitals, they come up from far off regions, and they little money they have, they keep it aside for the treatment of the patient. They sleep on platforms, they hardly eat anything. And we give them food every afternoon on Fridays, and it makes a lot of difference. There's similar such fundraisers. Please feel free to celebrate your loved ones with any of these causes.
Vishwa's commitment towards zero waste and a long way to go in achieving the goal begins with our material donation drive. Conducted twice a year during Diwali and Ugadi in Hyderabad, this drive collects clothes, books, toys, and other used or semi-used items for the underprivileged. Contributions from over 615 plus families have benefited around 2,800 individuals, providing essential items and support, bringing hope and dignity to them. Through these efforts, we transform the waste of some into the treasure of others, promoting sustainability and community welfare.
Namaskaram everyone, a very good morning and welcome to Vishwa Talks. My name is Radhika and today, thank you all for attending today's event. For those of you who have attended a Vishwa Talk before, a warm welcome back. And for new joiners, here's a little bit about Vishwa. Vishwa Talks is a program to create awareness and to inspire people to participate in various social causes. Here, we invite experts from various fields to discuss and explore diverse opinions, different perspectives, and various issues and the solutions. Along with Vishwa Talks, Vishwa has declared Swachh Hyderabad a zero waste city by 2027. If you miss any part of this Vishwa Talk and if you would like to go through the previous Vishwa Talk sessions, please visit our website or Vishwa Talks YouTube channel for a full library of past Vishwa Talks. In today's session, we are incredibly honored to have Mr. Sahadev Komaragiri with us. Mr. Sahadev is a proud son of an eminent educationalist and principal of Government Degree College, Sri Narsimha Rao and Srimati Damayanti Devi. He has done his Bachelor of Engineering in Civil Engineering from Osmania University from 1987 to 1991. He pursued his master's degree in environmental engineering and information technology at the University of New Mexico from the USA. He worked in information technology field as a consultant and architect for many premier corporations in the US. Later, he worked at Roche Diagnostics in Singapore as a senior technical architect. His passion for the field of education brought him back to India in 2011. He is actively involved in creating new programs for the benefit of high school students. His brainchild, Robotics in Academics, is well received across the two Telugu-speaking states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. He is actively involved in several organizations that specialize the sphere of education and youth empowerment, including Sri Satya Sai Vidya Vahini and iFocus Mission. He has authored some of the books, and these are the books that he authored: English Proficiency, Human Excellence, Knowledge Edge, Pillaలకు Slokalu, Stotralu and Kirtanulu, Practical Robotics. His fascination towards our epics and Puranas has started from his early childhood. He started reading Ramayana and Mahabharata and other Puranas in his summer holidays in 5th and 6th standard. As we dive into today's interesting discussion, I would like to inform the audience that our speaker will be taking the questions from you after the main talk. So please leave your questions in the chat box or use raise hand tool. So without further ado, let us welcome our speaker, Mr. Saradev Garu, to share his insights. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Hope I'm audible. Just a quick check.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and walk through the presentation for the rest of the time. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Radhika. Like she mentioned, I was fascinated with epics from a very young time of my life, particularly 5th class and 6th class, when I started reading Mahabharata and Ramayana, especially Mahabharata. As I was reading it again and again, listening to the nice stories about Mahabharata from elders, that passion has increased over the time. So let's walk through why our epics are a marvelous creation. Don't ask me who created it, what happened, and so on, but I personally believe that our epics are basically marvels. What is the difference between an epic and a classic? Typically, what they say is if it is a classic, it simply means over 100 years, people continue to like that literature, like that book. Epic, typically, when translated into Telugu, it becomes a Purana, right? And it means it is timeless. It has been respected, followed, read again and again by millions of people for thousands of years. That's the difference between an epic and a classic. Our epics are marvels in many ways. I will start with Ramayana. I'll tell you what happened when Ramayana was created, when Ramayana was being envisaged and written by sage Valmiki. వాల్మీకి నారదుడు న్యూస్ ఏంటంటే నారదుడు లోక సంచారి. దెర్ ఇస్ నాట్ ఎ సింగిల్ సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ పర్సన్ దట్ నారద వుడ్ నాట్ నో. నారదుడికి తెలియని వాళ్ళు లేరు. నారదుడు లోకాలన్నీ తిరుగుతూ ఉంటాడు. అట్లాంటి నారదుడిని ఒకరోజు వాల్మీకి పట్టుకొని అడుగుతాడు, నేను ఒక 16 క్యారెక్టర్స్ నా మైండ్లో ఉన్నాయి, 16 క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ నా మైండ్లో ఉన్నాయి, అట్రిబ్యూట్స్ నా మైండ్లో ఉన్నాయి. అట్లాంటి 16 క్వాలిటీస్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా ఉన్నారా ప్రపంచంలో అని అడిగితే నారదుడు ఉన్నాడు అని చెప్తారు. ఆ క్వాలిటీస్ ఏంటి అంటే అది ఆలోచిస్తుంటేనే మైండ్ బ్లోయింగ్ ఉంటుంది. ఎట్లా ఆలోచిస్తున్నాడు వాల్మీకి? వాట్ వాస్ హీ థింకింగ్ when he said there are 16 qualities? One of the qualities that Valmiki was mentioning about is ఏకప్రియ దర్శన. అది లాస్ట్ వన్. ఒక్కసారి చూడంగానే చాలా ఆనందం అనిపిస్తుంది. ఆ మనిషిని చూడంగానే అంత ఆనందం అనిపిస్తుంది. కానీ అంతేకాకుండా సమర్థుడై ఉండాలి. అన్ని భూతాల్ని, సర్వభూతేషు కోహిత, అన్ని ఉత్త మానవుల కోసమే కాకుండా అన్ని భూతాలు కూడా హ్యాపీగా ఉండాలి అనుకునేవాడు ఎవరు? దృఢవ్రత, చాలా స్ట్రాంగ్ కమిట్మెంట్ ఉన్నవాడు, స్ట్రాంగ్ డిటర్మినేషన్ ఉన్నవాడు ఎవరు? ధర్మజ్ఞుడెవరు? వీరుడెవరు? వీరుడు అంటే ఆర్డినరీ వీరుడు కాదు, దేవతలు కూడా ఇతనితో ఎందుకు పెట్టుకోవాలి, ఇతనితో పెట్టుకోవద్దు అనుకునే టైప్లో ఉండే మనిషి ఎవరైనా ఉన్నారా? ఇన్ని క్వాలిటీస్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా ఉన్నారా అంటే నారదుడు చెప్తాడు, ఉన్నాడు, అతనే రాముడు, ఇక్ష్వాకు వంశ తిలకుడు రాముడు ఉన్నాడు, అతనే అని చెప్పి రాముడు గురించి స్టోరీ చెప్తాడు. ఆ కాన్వర్జేషన్ బిట్వీన్ నారద అండ్ వాల్మీకి లాస్ట్ ఓన్లీ ఫర్ అబౌట్ 100 శ్లోకాస్. ఒక 100 శ్లోకాస్లో ఈ 100 శ్లోకాస్ని విస్తరించి వాల్మీకి స్టోరీ మొత్తం రాస్తాడు. ఈ శ్లోకాలలో పవర్ ఏంటంటే, ఇప్పుడు ఇఫ్ యు సీ రామాయణ అండ్ మహాభారత్, ఒరిజినల్లీ అవి తెలుగులో లేవు, ఆర్ హిందీలో లేవు. ఒరిజినల్లీ దే వర్ ఆల్ ఇన్ సాంస్క్రిట్. యూ లుక్ ఎట్ ది ఎంటైర్ మహాభారత ఆర్ ఎంటైర్ రామాయణ్, దే వర్ ఆల్ రిటన్ ఇన్ శ్లోకాస్. నవ్ శ్లోకాస్ అంటే ఎట్లాంటి శ్లోకాస్ అంటే టిపికల్లీ ఒక 32 క్యారెక్టర్స్, 32 సిలబుల్స్లో ఒక శ్లోకం ఉంటుంది. ఫస్ట్ లైన్లో 16 సిలబుల్స్, సెకండ్ లైన్లో ఇంకో 16 సిలబుల్స్ ఉంటాయి. మొత్తం రామాయణం మొత్తం ఇట్లా శ్లోకాల్లోనే ఉంటుంది. ఎంత బ్యూటిఫుల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఉంటుందంటే, అంత బ్యూటిఫుల్గా ఉండటమే కాకుండా అంత ప్రిసైజ్గా, అంత యాక్యురేట్గా, అంత ఎఫిషియెంట్గా వాళ్ళ ఐడియాస్ని, స్టోరీస్ని, థాట్ ప్రాసెస్ని ఆ 32 క్యారెక్టర్స్, 32 సిలబుల్ శ్లోకాస్లోనే ఎంబెడ్ చేసి పెట్టారనమాట. దట్ ఈస్ ద పవర్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ ఎపిక్స్. అండ్ ఓవర్ ఏ పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్ ఇవి ఎట్లా స్టోర్ అయినాయి, థౌసండ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇయర్స్ నుంచి ఎట్లా స్టోర్ అయినాయి? They all came from person to person, one ashram to another ashram to another generation, and so on. అట్లా మౌఖికంగా ఒకడు నేర్పిస్తే అది నేర్చుకొని వాళ్ళు ఇంకొకరికి నేర్పిస్తే జనరేషన్స్ టుగెదర్ అట్లాగే నాలెడ్జ్ స్ప్రెడ్ అయింది. రామాయణం వెనకాల ఇంత సింపుల్ కాన్వర్జేషన్ దట్ ఎక్స్పాండెడ్ ఇంటూ ఎ బిగ్ స్టోరీ. నౌ హౌ డిడ్ మహాభారత స్టార్ట్? మహాభారతం ఏంటంటే, మహాభారతం కేసులో మాత్రం వ్యాసుడు ఏం చేశాడంటే స్టోరీ మొత్తం మైండ్లో రెడీ చేసుకున్నాడు. హీ వాజ్ రెడీ విత్ ఎ మాస్టర్ పీస్, వన్ ఆఫ్ ది లాంగెస్ట్ ఎపిక్స్. వరల్డ్ మొత్తంలో ఎపిక్స్ అన్ని చూస్తే దెర్ ఇస్ వన్ చైనీస్ ఎపిక్ ప్రాబ్లీ స్లైట్లీ లాంగర్ దెన్ మహాభారత అని చెప్తారు. బట్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ప్రాక్టికల్ పర్పసెస్, యాజ్ ఫర్ ఐస్ ఐ నో, ది లార్జెస్ట్ ఎపిక్ ఎవర్ రిటన్ by the humans is మహాభారత. ఈ మహాభారత మొత్తం మైండ్లో కాన్సెప్ట్ అంతా రెడీ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత హీ వాంటెడ్ సమ్మన్ టు హెల్ప్ హిమ్ రైట్. సో హీ ఫౌండ్ వినాయకుడిని పట్టుకున్నాడు, వినాయకుడిని రిక్వెస్ట్ చేశాడు, నేను చెప్తూ ఉంటాను, నువ్వు రాయగలవా? రాస్తాను అని చెప్పాడు. దట్స్ వేర్ ది ఛాలెంజ్ స్టార్ట్స్. ఇమాజిన్ how this conversation would have happened between these two people, sage Vyasa Maharshi, and గణాలన్నిటికీ అధిపతి అయిన మహాగణాధిపతి విఘ్నేశ్వరుడు. ఓకే, ఇందులో ఏమవుతుందంటే వాళ్ళిద్దరూ ఒక డీల్ పెట్టుకుంటారు. వ్యాసుడు అంటాడు, నేను కంటిన్యూస్గా చెప్తూ ఉంటాను, నువ్వు ఆపకుండా రాయాలి అంటాడు. విఘ్నేశ్వరుడు ఒప్పుకుంటాడు. కానీ విఘ్నేశ్వరుడు కూడా ఒక రూల్ పెడతాడు. ఏం పెడతాడంటే, నువ్వు ఆపకుండా చెప్పాలి ఒకటి, నువ్వు చెప్పేది ప్రతి ఒక్కటి నాకు అర్థం కావాలి. నాకు అర్థం కాకపోతే నేను ఆగిపోతాను, నాకు అర్థమయ్యి నేను రాసేదాకా నువ్వు నా కోసం వెయిట్ చేయాలి, అర్థం చేసుకోకుండా నేను రాయను అని చెప్తాడు. వాళ్ళిద్దరి మధ్య డీల్ సెట్ అవుతుంది. సి హౌ బ్యూటిఫుల్ దిస్. ఇట్లాంటి కథలు ఎక్కడ వినం మనం, ఇట్లాంటి కాన్సెప్ట్ ఎక్కడ వినం. సో సేజ్ వ్యాస మంచి మహర్షి కూర్చొని చెప్తూ ఉంటాడు, విఘ్నేశ్వరుడు రాస్తూ ఉంటాడు. ఇది కొన్ని రోజుల పాటు జరుగుతుందట. తిండి తిప్పలు ఎట్లా ఉంటాయి వాళ్ళకి, మరి ఎవరు చూసుకుంటారు? దెర్ వర్ ఇన్స్టెన్సెస్ వెన్ మహర్షి వ్యాస, వెన్ హీ వాంటెడ్ టు టేక్ ఎ బ్రేక్, ఏం చేసేవాడంటే విఘ్నేశ్వరుడికి అర్థం కాదేమో అన్నంత శ్లోకాన్ని ఒకటి చెప్పేవాడట. విఘ్నేశ్వరుడు అది అర్థం చేసుకోవడం కోసం ఆగిపోయేవాడట. చాలా కాంప్లికేటెడ్ ఉంది శ్లోకం, నాకు అర్థం కావట్లేదు, అర్థమయ్యేదాకా నేను రాయను అంటాడు కదా. సేజ్ మహర్షి వ్యాసుడు ఎంత కాన్ఫిడెంట్ అంటే, ఇతనికి అర్థం అవడానికి చాలా టైం పడుతుంది, నేను వెళ్ళేసి వస్తానని చెప్పి వెళ్ళి పనులు చేసుకొని మళ్ళీ వచ్చేవాడు. వచ్చేటప్పటికి అప్పటికి అర్థమైంది అంటే నెక్స్ట్ శ్లోకం చెప్పేవాడు. ఇమాజిన్ దిస్ ఇస్ లైక్ ఎ చెస్ గేమ్, 2 players ఆర్ ప్లేయింగ్ ఎ గేమ్. అండ్ ఒకతను ఎంత కాన్ఫిడెంట్గా మూవ్ చేస్తాడంటే, అరే వాడు నెక్స్ట్ మూవ్ ఇప్పట్లో ఆలోచించలేడు, నేను బయటికి వెళ్ళేసి వస్తానని చెప్పి బయటికి వెళ్ళేసి వస్తాడు. అంత కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ ఉంటుంది. లిటరేచర్లో యూ సీ సంథింగ్ లైక్ దిస్. మహాభారతంలో ఈ ఛాలెంజ్ వీళ్ళిద్దరి మధ్యలో కొన్ని రోజుల పాటు జరుగుతుందట. ఆ రోజుల పాటులో వ్యాసుడు బ్రేక్ తీసుకుంటాడు, కానీ విఘ్నేశ్వరుడు మాత్రం బ్రేక్ తీసుకోవట, ఒక్క బ్రేక్ కూడా తీసుకోవట. దట్ ఈస్ హౌ ది ఎంటైర్ స్టోరీ ఈస్ బిల్ట్. నౌ ఐ హ్యావ్ రెడ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ బుక్స్, ఇంగ్లీష్ లిటరేచర్లో కూడా చాలా బుక్స్ చదివాను. వాట్ ఈస్ సంథింగ్ ఫెనామినల్ అబౌట్ మహాభారత, అండ్ దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ దేర్ ఇన్ అదర్ బుక్స్, ఈజ్ అ సింపుల్ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఈ మహాభారతం స్టోరీలో చెప్తూ వ్యాసుడు కూడా ఒక క్యారెక్టరే ఆ స్టోరీలో. ఐ హ్యావ్ నాట్ రెడ్ ఎనీ బుక్ సో ఫార్ వేర్ ది ఆథర్ హిమ్సెల్ఫ్ ఈజ్ అ క్యారెక్టర్ ఇన్ ద బుక్. I read stories where the author is narrating a story. I అనుకుంటే ఫస్ట్ పర్సన్ లో చెప్తున్నాడు స్టోరీ మొత్తం, కానీ ఆ స్టోరీ మొత్తంలో ఉంటాడు అతను. మహాభారతంలో వ్యాసుడు అప్పుడప్పుడు వస్తాడు. He's the author also.
Sir, just sorry to interrupt. Can you use English, because many of them have joined from other regions.
Okay.
They
Okay.
cannot understand Telugu. Yeah.
Sure. I will do. So what we have never found in other literature is the author is typically writing entire story where he is not involved at all. But in this case, the author himself is part of the story and he is there throughout the story, but not every time. He appears whenever there is a problem, he appears. But imagine the author himself is part of the story. And that's the beauty of Mahabharata. Now, as we go make progress and see how things are happening, I'm always in wonderment when it comes to think about when two great people meet, or two great characters in a story meet, what do they talk about? For all practical purposes, for me, Mahabharata is something that really happened. It's not just a story. It is something that happened on the planet Earth, in Indian subcontinent, in the northern part of the continent mostly. And then as it was going on, I always wondered, when great people meet, what do they talk about? In this case, I have a picture of Sri Krishna visiting the Pancha Pandavas. What do they talk about? How do they greet each other? Krishna is famous for his intelligence, famous for his language skills, famous for many things. Now, when Krishna was meeting Dhritarashtra after a very long time, he keeps on asking them, hey, Dharmaraja, how is your kingdom going? Are you getting all the problems of the people directly reported to you? Or is anyone filtering out the problems so that you don't get to know what's happening in the society? Is that happening? And then what are the other questions that he asks? Hey, are you maintaining your secrets perfectly well? Rahasya, rahasyam. Are you able to keep a secret as a secret? Or is it getting spilled over to everyone? How are you protecting your secrets? These are the things that they are talking about, how beautiful these concepts are. And then there are, when they meet for the first time, how do they welcome him? Dhritarashtra and, Dharmaraja and all his brothers, they go out to the street and wait for the arrival of Krishna. They are not waiting inside the kingdom on his throne sitting, let him come. He's not waiting like that. He's entering the street, waiting for the Krishna, for Lord Krishna to come in. Now, in the process, he is not coming after Krishna came in. He's coming in 10 minutes ahead of time or 15 minutes ahead of time and waiting for Krishna to arrive. Let's see the beauty. And when they are leaving, how do they leave? When Krishna meets the entire family and when he is going back to Dwaraka, how are they seeing him off? In a beautiful context, in one of the instances when Krishna visits the Pandavas and when he is going back, Dharmaraja tells Krishna, Krishna, you're leaving so early. We want you to stay here for some more time. Please, can you stay for some more time? And Krishna responds, even I want to stay. Even I want to stay here for some more time. But unfortunately, I cannot wait. I have to go. And that's the kind of conversation people have. To this day, in Indian context, when people come visit our houses, when elderly people, especially elderly people visit our houses, we go out to receive them. And when they are leaving, we go out to see them off. Right? That's the power of the relationships that Mahabharata and Ramayana have set together. Even in the case of Rama, when someone visits him, Vasishta visits him, when he visits Vasishta, the kind of conversation happens is pretty similar. Right? So in Mahabharata, it's a huge epic. Like I said, it's a very large epic, and in that context, Arjuna, the Pandavas are the younger lot. They are fighting their elders. Bhishma Pitamaha is the grandfather, right? Great grandfather for that matter, maybe. Bhishma Pitamaha. When they meet in the war for the first time, I have to give you two examples how elders are respected. When you fight an enemy who is an elderly person, whom you respected in the past and whom you respect even in the war and whom you will respect the rest of your life, how do you fight him? It's a very tough question. You have to fight him, you have to defeat him, but yet you do not disrespect him. How do you do that? So when they meet for a war, not in Mahabharata war, but Dakshina Gograhanam is one of the famous episodes in Mahabharata, when Arjuna and Pandavas are coming out of exile. When they are coming out of the exile, they meet at a war. And Bhishma and Dronacharya, they both are in the war and Arjuna is on the opposite side. Imagine the people who you respected all your life, you suddenly have to face them in a warlike situation. That was the first time Arjuna faced both Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya in one fight. The conversation was not loud. They don't talk to each other. So what did Arjuna do? He sent an arrow at the feet of Bhishma and Drona. The moment he sent it, and it landed in front of the feet of both the leaders, they instantly understood that it was none other than Arjuna. Right? They were just coming out of the exile. They didn't know who they were fighting. They thought they were fighting King Virata and his army. But the moment it fell near their feet, they realized the way Arjuna respected Bhishma and Drona was, my pranams to you. I'm not saying it with words. I'm telling you through my arrows, right? And they landed on the second when he left the second arrow, it zipped past through the beside the ears of the both Drona and Bhishmacharya. The second one, first one is mark of respect. The second one, when it shifts past the year, it simply means Arjuna is asking a question, Kusalama, how are you? And this is the highest form of respect that you can give, even if you are fighting your enemy, the person that you respect the most. Right? That's how the relationship exists between the people who respect each other quite a bit. Right? And during the Mahabharata war, when it was just about to start, it was Dharmaraja's turn. He took his chariot all the way to the enemy post. And who are the enemies? His grandparents, right? Bhishma, Drona, and all the top stars of the time were lined up in a fight against Pandavas. So what did Dronacharya, what did Dharmaraja do? Yudhishthira do? He went to Bhishma first, and he stopped his chariot in front of him, stepped down from the chariot, went straight to Dronacharya and went straight to Bhishmacharya and offered his pranams and said, whenever I did something big, I took your permission. I want your permission to start the war. Can we start the war? He's asking, I'm fighting with you. Can I start the fight? Imagine the kind of respect that people have, the kind of philosophical, ideological bent of mind that they had. So the question is, can we start the war? Do we have your permission to start the war? Bhishma says, yes, you can start the war. The second question is, whenever I went to accomplish something very big, I went to my elders and asked for their blessings. Do I have your blessings to win this war? Imagine now, this is something goosebumps time. You're fighting an enemy, a respected person, and you're asking for blessings from that person. I want to win this war against you. Can you bless me? Bhishmacharya says, yes, I will bless you. He goes, takes his war, he thanks Bhishmacharya profusely and goes to Dronacharya and says the same thing. Do I have permission to fight you? Number one. Do I have your blessings to win this war? Dronacharya also says, I have my blessings for your win. It doesn't mean that Dronacharya is going to give a cakewalk. He's going to walk away. No, they're going to fight. There's a brilliant fight between both the armies. But at the end of the day, the respect that Pandavas showed for elders was amazing. And quite contrary, the kind of respect that Kauravas showed for elders was pathetic. There was no respect at all. Right? We will not get into those details, but I just want to show what kind of respect that people had for their elders during those times. The next question that occurred to me while I was preparing for this presentation is, why do friends become friends? What does Ramayana and Mahabharata tell us about friendship? Right? On the left in this picture, you'll see four people. They are popularly called as Dushta Chatushtayam. The four people are Duryodhana, Dusasana, Karna, and Sekuni Mama. The four people, they are popularly known as Dushta Chatushtayam. Why did they become so close? Two of them are brothers anyway. Duryodhana and Dusasana are brothers, but for all practical purposes, they became thick friends. Right? On the right side, you will see Rama, Lakshmana, and Sugriva and Hanuman. Right? And there's also Bhalluka Raja there, Jambavanta. They also became thick friends. What is the big difference between the two? Or what is the most common thing between those two? The common thing is when friendships happen between friends, there is a common purpose. What is that common purpose? In the case of the Dushta Chatushtayam, the common purpose is defeating Pandavas by hook or crook. They became friends as a mafia group. We will win. We will have strong secrets. We will not tell them. We will destroy them. Right? They became very, very good friends. On the other hand, Rama and Sugriva, when they met for the first time, both of them had the same problem. Rama's wife, Sita, was stolen, was kidnapped by Ravana. And what about Sugriva? Sugriva's wife was also stolen. By who? None other than his own brother, Vali. Right? Both of them are going through the same struggle in life. Their wives were stolen or kidnapped from them. And their common purpose is to fight this adharma. Right? That's why they got united. And why are the Dushta Chatushtayam, the Kauravas, so united? By hook or crook, by adharma, even if it is by adharma, they want to defeat Pandavas. And only through the dharma, the Rama, both Rama and Sugriva's friendship was aiming at destroying the adharma of stealing people's wives, kidnapping people's wives. So but all said and done, there is a fundamental reason why friends become friends. There is a common purpose that they see. Sometimes it is an achievement, sometimes it is something else. But in this case, I want to show you two contrasting differences between how friendships are made. This case is a classic case of how a friendship should not be, right? In this case, I have here Drupada and Dronacharya. They went to the same school, same Gurukulam. They were trained under the same guru. They were very close friends when they were children. And Drona, when he came out, he was not from a wealthy family, but Drupada was from a wealthy family, son of a king. He became a king. Drupada became a king. Now, after many years, when Drupada went back to meet his friend, when Dronacharya went to meet his friend King Drupada, King Drupada totally ignored him. Who are you? How can you be a friend of mine? Maybe at childhood I may have said something, right? But I don't even recognize you. I don't even know who you are. So stop pretending being my friend. Get lost. I don't know if he said so much, but the wordings were similar. Dronacharya walked out furiously. I mean, he was furious when he walked out. The first thing that he wanted to do is teach a lesson for his childhood friend, teach a lesson to his childhood friend. You have insulted me. I will avenge this insult, right? Now, he went back, found a good student by name Arjuna, who was fully trained. Arjuna goes and defeats Drupada. And then Drupada comes to Dronacharya, begs for his forgiveness. I'm sorry, I ill-treated you. I should not have done that. Does the story end there? It does not end there. Drupada goes back. He says, I want to avenge this insult. I was insulted by Dronacharya, so I have to avenge this. So he offers a great penance and he gives birth to a child by name Drishtadyumna. And Drishtadyumna's the penance was, I need a son who can kill Dronacharya. And Drishtadyumna's birth was basically to kill Dronacharya. In Mahabharata, that happens. In the Mahabharata war, finally it happens. See how a childhood friendship could have been easily resolved, easily taken to good conclusion. Rather, it ended up in a fierce fighting that ended up killing both of them, right? There is, on the other hand, a famous friendship between Krishna and Kuchela. They also went to the same school when they were children, and both of them were very good friends when they were in the school. When they left, it is now Kuchela's turn to visit Sri Krishna. Kuchela was not an ordinary person either. Krishna was not an ordinary person either. When they met each other, Krishna took extreme good care of Kuchela. He said, how are you, my dear friend? I have not seen you for years. And they both cried when they met each other. See the difference between the friendship in Dronacharya and Drupada versus Kuchela and Krishna? They diametrically opposite. No one got killed in the process of this friendship. In the process of friendship between Drupada and Dronacharya, both of them got killed because of the animosity that could have been avoided in the first place if they remained good friends. Right? Friendship between Kuchela and Krishna is a great example for friendship. If there's any friendship day, it must celebrate this friendship of these two people. Now, when it comes to trust, what does Mahabharata and Ramayana tell you? I'll take one example from Ramayana for now. We'll talk about, remember earlier I talked about Rama and Sugriva meeting. They both had the same problem. The same problem in the sense, Sugriva's wife was kidnapped. Rama's wife, Sita Ma Sita was also kidnapped. Now, when they met each other for the first time, what was the kind of trust between them? Rama trusted Sugriva, but Sugriva did not trust Rama at all. For him, Vali is a very powerful hero. Sugriva's brother Vali is a very powerful hero. Now, Sugriva did not trust that Rama is capable of killing Vali, punishing Vali rather. So he puts a lot of tests. He keeps on asking Rama, what do you know about my brother? He's such a powerful person and you don't look anywhere close to being someone who can fight volley. I don't think you are capable of doing that. And then the mistrust continues for some time until Rama proves that he can take care of volley and punish volley big time. Right? The trust did not, there was no trust for a long time between these two people. But once Rama proved himself, Rama had to prove himself so that Sugriva can trust him. Now you may ask me, why should Sugriva trust Rama? After all, they are strangers. Until they met for the first time, they didn't know about the existence of each other. Even if they know each other, there was a faint recognition of each other, but they never met before. There's no reason why Rama should trust Sugriva, or Sugriva for that matter, trust Rama. It's natural, right? Now we'll shift to another story, same story, Rama and Vibhishana, right? Just before the Ramayana war, Vibhishana comes rushing to Rama. Who is Vibhishana in this case? Brother of an enemy that Rama is fighting. Rama has reached the shores of Lanka to fight whom? Ravanasura. And who is Vibhishana? Ravanasura's own brother. The moment Vibhishana comes to Rama, first of all, they never met each other. They may have known about each other a few months earlier because of the impending war. Other than that, they don't know each other. When Vibhishana approached Rama, having known that he is the brother of an enemy who must be coming as a spy, there was no reason whatsoever for Rama to trust Vibhishana. What did Rama do? He simply said, now that you have come to me seeking my refuge, I will grant you that. Not only that, he immediately told Vibhishana, look at the confidence of a hero here, confidence of a leader. What did the leader say? You have come to me seeking my protection. Not only will I protect you, but I know that Ravanasura will be killed in the war. When he gets killed, who will be the next king? It will be you. He promises, Rama promises Vibhishana that he will be made the king. There was no test here. There was no distrust here. They became friends instantly. Whereas Sugriva and Rama could not become friends instantly. What is the big difference? In both the cases, Rama was the common person. Sugriva was not. Rama was the common person. What was Rama's confidence? What was Rama's ability here? Rama's ability here is he will trust anyone. If the trust is broken, he knows how to take care of it. Vibhishana does not have that strength. Even Sugriva does not have that strength. But Rama has that character, that strength that says, I can trust anyone, and if the trust is broken, I know how to take care of it. Therefore, he immediately promised Vibhishana that I'll take care of you. I'll make you the king. Right? Okay. So that's about the trusting portion. Now, I have a question. We see a lot of families, lot of things going on in families, right? There was a question, what happens when you love your family too much? Is there an answer for this from Mahabharata or Ramayana? In this case, I'm taking the example of Dhritarashtra, who has 100 sons. He was blind both symbolically as well as physically. Right? He was blind physically, but here he shows he has a very blind love for his children. He did not care if they were going in the wrong direction or not. In this case, the love was so overpowered. Love for his children is so overpowered. He was blessed with two brilliant people. King Dhritarashtra was blessed with two brilliant people. Their names were Sanjaya and Vidura. They were brilliant in many ways. Excuse me. And they were also very wise people. There's not a problem for which they cannot provide a solution, right? But in spite of having such powerful advisors, Dhritarashtra failed to prevent the war, failed to see the end of his children. All his children died in the war, died gory death. I cannot tell you how cruelly they were killed in the war, right? What is the problem here? His love for his children was way too much, to the point of being corrupt, to the point of being a total fault, right? That was the problem here. I want to show you way too much love for your family to the extent of being blind love is incorrect. And it is proved numerous number of times. I'm giving you here only one example. There is another famous question that was answered in Mahabharata and Ramayana. They ask, do you have to think too much before you enter into some commitment or not? Okay. Now, there are words for it in Sanskrit. Paschat tapi. Paschat means after. Tapi means feeling or thinking deeply or feeling bad about something that happened. Purva tapi is predicting something and taking caution to prevent something from going terribly wrong. You think very well before the act. Paschatapam is thinking deeply after something went wrong, right? The question is that many people ask, Yudhishthira Dharmaraja is the eldest person in the family among the Pandavas. But Krishna chose Arjuna for Bhagavad Gita. Why not Dharmaraja? The answer is the difference between Arjuna and Arjuna and Dharmaraja is that Dharmaraja was a Paschatapi. He played the game of dice with the Kauravas. He lost terribly, not once, but 2 times. And both the times, he had to lose his honor, feel insulted in a big way, and then he left. He never asked anyone, do I have to play this game? And they say in Mahabharata also, there are certain places you should not go without invitation. For example, they say if there's a family function and you're not invited, you should not go, right? But if there is a death in the family, even if you're not invited, you should go and visit that family. And then there is a third type of invitation. Even if you get it, you should not go. What is that? If you are invited to drink, if you are invited to play dice, if you are invited to go for hunting, you should not go, even if you get a good invitation, right? Those are the rules that they framed for good conduct. But Dharmaraja never asked, should I play this game or not? He went to a game, even though he knows that he's going to get cheated, he went there. On the other hand, Arjuna's power was before the war, when he saw all the elders, Arjuna simply fell down in his chariot and asked, Krishna, I don't want to fight this war. I am not able to digest the fact that if I have to win this war, I have to kill my own people. I don't want this war. This is an example of Purvatapi. After the loss of the game of dice with the Kauravas, Dharmaraja felt terrible. That is Paschatapam. After the fact. And before the fact, Arjuna asked Krishna for advice. What should I do? Krishna advises him, go and fight. Right? So now that's a big difference. When do you have to think deeply before you act on something? Whether you take advice or not, or you should act first and then think about it later on. The answer is clear. Guru-Sishya relationship. What should be the relationship between a guru and his student? Right? There are several examples. I'm quoting 2 examples here. The first example is Parashurama and Karna. Right? Even in the recent movie Kalki, for some unknown reason, Karna was made a hero, right? Big hero for some reason. But in the relationship between a guru and his disciple in this example, Karna reaches out to Parashurama, and basically he lies to him that he is a Brahmin and he needs training, right? The relationship between the guru and the student started with a lie. And it eventually ended up in Karna getting cursed big time, right? He loses the war because of that curse. He dies in the hands of Arjuna because of that curse. Look at the relationship between Vishwamitra and Rama. Guru-Sishya relationship here again. Vasishta, Vishwamitra, when he approaches Dasharatha Maharaja asking for his 2 sons, Rama and Lakshmana, to join him to fight the demons, they agree. But what Dasharatha tells Rama is, from today, think of Vishwamitra as I myself. Whatever he tells, it's like as if I am giving you that direction. You should follow his direction. And the relationship was so smooth, so perfect between the guru and the Sishya. It ends up being all good things in favor of Rama throughout his life. Right? So Guru Shishya relationship bonding should not happen through lies, but it should happen with a good contact, a complete faith in each other, especially the student having 100% faith in the Guru. Right? That's an example that I wanted to share with respect to Guru Shishya relationship. I just want to talk about one more thing here, and I'll see if I can take more time. When a woman is ill-treated, what happens, right? In the case of Draupadi Vastrapaharan, everyone knows this story. Krishna protects her honor, right? But when Dussasana was the one who pulled the pulled the rope, Dussasana gets punished big way. Bhima tells in the court, the person who pulled her sari, I will break his hands, I will kill him, I will. Not only that, when Draupadi was called into the court, her hair was pulled. He says, I will. Bhima says, I will not only kill Dussasana, but I will drink his blood. I will apply that blood to the hair of Draupadi, and that will satisfy me, right? Dussasana really gets killed that way. And how did Duryodhana insult Draupadi? Now that you are lost in the game of dice, you are part of our family, come and sit on my thighs, is what Duryodhana tells Draupadi. Draupadi was severely insulted, ill-treated in that meeting. Bhima promises again, you showed your thigh to my wife. I'm going to break that thigh into 1,000 pieces. And that's what happened, right? When he was taken care of. When women especially are ill-treated, they got severe beating in our Puranas. There was no option, nothing against it. They were never treated kindly. Same thing with Kichaka and Draupadi. Again, whenever in Puranas, women suffered a lot. When Kichaka was approaching Draupadi with an evil eye, Bhima again comes into picture. You see in the movies, they talk about violence, right? The way that violent, in the manner in which Kichaka was killed in the epic Mahabharata, is something. When I read it, I was shivering because when he was killed, he was a big guy. Kichaka was a big guy. What did Bhima do? This is gory. Please bear with me, right? He pushes the head into his torso. Kichaka's head is pushed into his torso. His legs were also pushed into his torso. He rolled the entire body into a ball. It appeared like if it was a ball that was rolling, right? He was killed so badly. What are our epics telling us? If women are ill-treated, they will be punished severely. And there are n number of examples about it. We know about Ravanasura, how Ravanasura gets killed by Rama because of his ill treatment of Sita. Now, does it give a blank check to all the women to be whatever they want, and if men misbehave with them, they will be punished? There's a caution, word of caution here also. We talk about one Surpanaka who was ill-treated by Lakshmana. Why was Surpanaka ill-treated? Basically because she is a demon. She had bad intention. She wanted to break a family. She wanted to do all sorts of nonsense things. And therefore, she must be punished, even if it is a woman. In fact, Rama's career starts with the killing of a woman. And at that time, Vishwamitra was right next to him. He asked, can I kill a woman? He says, if a woman is breaking dharma and making the entire society evil because of all her evil activities, she must be killed. And that was what I am trying to say is, if women are ill-treated, they will definitely be punished. But if women are evil, they must be dealt to. We had clear instructions from both Ramayana and Mahabharata when it comes to these activities. So it's about 11:42 now. How are we doing on time? Radhika, do I have another 10 minutes to go, or do we stop for Q&A here? I'm not able to hear you.
The video got stuck, sir. I think you can continue for another 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay. An important lesson for leadership. This is something that I really liked. A story that I read several times. Nahusha is a king. He has a long story. Parents, grandparents. He had a very long story. But cut short the whole thing. And what we are looking at is he was a very powerful king. When there was a vacancy in the Indra Sabha, when Indra himself was thrown out, defeated, and Indra went into hiding, the entire Devata clan was looking for someone to lead them. They did not find a king within themselves. They wanted someone to lead them. So who did they find? They found Nahusha to be a perfect match. But when Nahusha became the king of the Indra Sabha, he became very arrogant. An important lesson in leadership, the reason I say it is, I see a lot of leaders who come up in life through a lot of struggle. But once they reach the peak, they behave like they're absolute dictators, right? Nahusha was story for such people. Why you should not become a dictator when you become a good leader, when you're offered a top position. Nahusha, the moment he became the king of the heavens, he asked a question. If I am the king, who is Sachi Devi, who is the wife of Indra? He says, she should be my wife, right? Why is she not being with me? And that's how the arrogance turned into his own uh, killing in some way, his own end. It ended his career. The Saptarishis are counted as the core group in an organization called Devatas in the Devata Sabha or Indra Sabha. The Saptarishis are supposed to be the core people who are absolutely brilliant in every way. There's not a thing that they do not know about. There's not a problem that they cannot solve. Right? In such a situation, Nahusha uses them as domestic help. He asked them, I will sit in a palaki that will be carried by you. And he was so arrogant, he started using his core team, absolutely the core team, as the most insignificant team ever. And that brings his end in a drastic way. When they were carrying the Pallaki, the Saptarishis were carrying King in the Pallaki, there was uneven weight, and he kicks Agastya Mahamuni and says, you are an idiot. Why are you moving this Pallaki and giving me so much discomfort? And he kicks Agastya, and that brought the end of Nahusha. Now, the story is if you become a top leader, you should be more humble. The greater heights you reach, the more humble you should be, because falling from great heights leads to instant death. If you fall from a small ground, it's okay, you'll only get hurt. But you reach a top position, when you fall from a top position, the fall will be terrible. And Nahusha's story from Mahabharata tells you that. Okay. Now I'll stop here. I have a few more slides that I planned, but I'll not get into it. I will leave the floor open for questions.
Sir, you can, yeah, you can continue for a few more minutes, sir. It's quite interesting. Please continue.
Okay. So continuing around the leadership lessons, we have started at Soham Academy a leadership program, and whenever I looked at Puranas, I was always looking at what lessons are there for leadership. Nahusha's story stood out as the biggest one for me. Leadership lessons, when you are forging partnerships with others, what kind of partnership are you looking for? Right? Do not forget the context is something that talks about the relationship between Rama and Sugriva. Both of them had the same problem. Both of them had the same goal to achieve. Therefore, the context set as the primary mover for the partnership between both the teams. Again, when you are forging partnership, you should look for equals. Who are the equals? Mahabharata tells us Duryodhana picked up Karna as a friend. Why Karna? Karna was not a small person. He was a big hero. He was a very talented fighter. Duryodhana is also a very talented fighter. The moment he found talent in Karna, and he found out that Karna is as powerful as I am, therefore I'm going to forge a partnership with him. Right? That's a partnership that we are looking at when it comes to leadership. When teams merge, or teams when one company is trying to find a partnership with other company, what are the parameters? Right? One, we should not forget the context. Second, we should not forget that are we finding an equal opportunity, or are we finding an equality in this relationship? In again leadership, when you are forging a partnership, giving first is always better than taking first. In this case, in the example of Rama and Sugriva's Maitri, or the friendship, or the partnership, Rama kills Vali. He showed his talent. He presented himself. He gave what Sugriva wanted. So he gave first. And then he sought his help in finding Sita. So giving first is very important in any partnership. When you are looking for, again, forging partnership, you cannot look for only your win. It should be a win-win. I should win and you should also win. That's why when Vibhishana approached Rama, Rama said, yes, I will make you king. I will win the war and I will make you king. And because of this partnership between Rama and Vibhishana, Vibhishana brought in a lot of secrets about Ravana, which otherwise Rama would not have known. Right? That partnership was primarily possible because Rama gave the assurance to Vibhishana that I will make you the king when we win the war. Right? That win-win situation, when you are forging a partnership with other teams, with other companies or anything, you should aim for win-win. I will win, you will lose. That will never work. Right? And giving first is important. Finding equal partnerships is important. Not forgetting the goal of that relationship is also important. And do not forget favors. When you are a leader and you find a good person who is doing a lot of good work for you, do not forget that. Reward them appropriately as and when you can. Whether they stay with you or whether they leave you and you don't meet them for hours and months or years and decades also, you will never forget what they did for you. You should always be grateful. And ungrateful people are treated as the worst sinners ever in our literature. Our literature constantly tells us ungrateful people will go to dogs eventually, is what our Puranas are telling us. Finally, finding talent. How does a leader find talent, smell talent, is something that we are looking for. Bhishma finds Drona as the most talented person. The moment Bhishma sees him, I need him to train my children, our children, Pandavas and Kauravas. Who should get trained? Under whom should they get trained? Bhishma found an instant answer in Dronacharya, and Dronacharya was looking for help. He was looking for a job. He was not finding a suitable job anywhere. The moment Bhishma found Drona, he offered him a great position, a great stage. He said, you will sit next to me in my court. You will sit next to me. Bhishma had that enormous power of smelling talent, right? And that finding of talent and that understanding of the need of Dronacharya for an elevated position brought in a great partnership between them. Promote loyalty. The greatest example of promoting loyalty is Rama. Can you ever imagine your employee giving his or her life for you? Right? Rama promoted that kind of loyalty in Hanuman. Hanuman said, I will do anything for you. I will die for you if you want me to. I will do anything for you. What does it take to promote such kind of loyalty? What did Rama do for Hanuman? In any case, nothing. Hanuman helped a lot, right? Rama did not do anything for Hanuman for that matter. But what did Hanuman find in Rama that an employee will find in you as an employer, that he will show complete loyalty for you? That's a magic you should understand, right? Promote loyalty and purpose. Treat them well. Profit sharing, like again, I'll go back to Vibhishana's story. Profit sharing is an important part of finding talent. When you find suitable talent, you should also share your profits, not just pay them salaries, is what our Puranas are telling them. So that's the conclusion of my presentation. I will open this now for Q&As. I'll say this again. I don't know if I mentioned this. Our Puranas, Ramayana and Mahabharata, Upanishads, Bhagavata Puranam, Devi Puranam, you take any of the Puranas, even English authors, English literature experts, what they found out is there is not a thing that is not discussed in our Puranas. Arrogance, leadership, you name it. You name a concept, you name a trait, you name an attribute of an individual or a human being, it is there. It is discussed in our Puranas. It is discussed in our literature. So that's all it is. I'll stop sharing my screen and open the floor for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that was a very interesting session where like almost most of the situations of life have been covered in your session. And I think there would be many questions from the audience. And before we move on to question and answer session, I would like to take 30 seconds of your time for a quick poll. This will help us to know the audience better and tailor future topics that we bring to them. And while they take the session, take the poll, I also want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, Mr. Sahadev Komaragiri Garu, for taking your time to grace this event, sir. I think poll is live. So we have Mr. Shmuel Yerushalmi has raised his hand.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes, Shmuel.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. A very interesting and helpful, knowledgeful presentation. And I want to ask you next question. I want to ask you how ideas of Ramayana and Mahabharata can support resolution problems of poverty, hunger, and social inequality.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
There's one thing that I added in the slide, but I did not talk about is relationship with money. Most of the problems that you talked about revolved around money. What did our Puranas tell us about money? Very simple answer. When you have excess money, what should you do? There's a great story around it. Money has three destinations. They talk about three destinations. Money can go out of you, from you, away from you in three ways. One is dhanam, that is giving alms, giving to other people, right? The second way is you satisfy your own needs or you enjoy your life with the money that you have, the excess money that you have. The first one is obviously dhanam, donation. The second one comes satisfying your needs and enjoying your life. The third one is chorium. It will get stolen away from you. Right? Now, if everyone in the world understands this concept of relationship with money, they will clearly know that the problem is in the excessive greed. There is this word called lobham that is mentioned repeatedly in all the Puranas. They talk about how lobham can destroy you, how moham, attachment to your material possessions, can destroy you. And these are the answers that I found that I find are very, very reasonable. There, in case of Mahabharata war, there was no solution except for the war. Krishna could not prevent it. No one could prevent that war. When it is absolutely right for the dharmic war to take place, it will take place. But otherwise, relationship with money, if you understand that, that can solve many problems. I know it's a difficult question to answer, but I tried.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Shmuel. And we have a question from Kolluri Nikhila Shri. Sir, it will be nice if you suggest a book for explanation of Mahabharatam with examples.
Okay. So what I think is Mahabharata, there's a Telugu book titled Bharatanloni Chinna Kathalu, short stories from Mahabharata. I am not able to recall the author's name. It's a beautiful book that contains about 20 to 25 stories from Mahabharata with great values embedded in them. That's a great book. But there is nothing like reading from reading the original literature. If your mother tongue is Telugu, then you should read Mahabharatam. I read 2 or 3 times, 3-volume book that I have. It is written by Dasarathi Rangacharya. It is beautifully written, and that 3-volume book comes to around 1400 to 1500 pages, but it's simply awesome, simply beautiful. The way it is written, the language, the content, the analysis. When you buy a book on Mahabharata and Ramayana, buy a book that not just narrates a story, but it also writes a commentary on that story. It comments about it. And the analysis written by Dasarathi Rangacharya after the end of every chapter or at the end of every suitable topic. His analysis was super. And I gained a lot from it. So don't just read the stories, but read also commentary written by experts in that area.
So is that book available in English also?
This book is available in Telugu. Dasarathi Rangacharya's book is available in Telugu. And I suggest don't read English literature. English, if you ask me personally, English has a very poor ability to express the true essence of what is in Mahabharata and Ramayana. English language fails miserably in conveying that. But it will be very sad, very unfortunate if you cannot read it in your mother tongue. If it is Hindi, Telugu, Bengali, whatever it is, right? You should be able to read it in your mother tongue, and you will have a natural connect that you will develop. I tried to read it in English, but English did not give me any connect whatsoever.
Yeah, true, sir.
I think one more hand raised. Rakesh, you have a question?
Yeah. So, Mr. Rakesh, can you unmute yourself and ask the question? You can come on video.
Okay. When can we get it, like online or a physical book? Where? If it is in Telugu, you can easily get it in Hyderabad in Koti area. There's a very nice bookstore called Gopal Publishers and others in near Kachiguda Chavrasta. That's one place in Hyderabad that I can think of. But I'm sure you can order them online also. Navodaya also is a great bookstore. There is one book that I found recently. When I read Ramayana and Mahabharatam for the first time, I read it, the Chandamama version. It was, fairly 500 pages, something like that. But it was beautifully written for someone 8-year-old or a 10-year-old to read and enjoy at that age. It's suitable for them also. So a Chandamama story is a good one to buy and think of. I have not gone through the online YouTube stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata. I enjoyed watching Mahabharata on Doordarshan when it was telecast. That was way back in when I was in 10th class, not 10th class, BTech second year or third year. It was a beautiful 2-year or 1-year series on Mahabharata. It was done very well by B.R. Chopra. And Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana was also very popular at that time. When you have to go and buy something, you have to choose Sunday those days, because Sundays everyone were glued to their TVs, televisions.
Is that still available, sir?
Ramayana and Mahabharata, both of them are available on YouTube. I bought those DVDs also later on. Ramayana and Mahabharata, B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata and Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana. They are available as DVDs. Now you don't need DVDs, but you'll have other ways of accessing them.
Comments also. So as it is 12 o'clock, I'll quickly talk about upcoming talks, and we'll continue with Q&A after that. So we have, I request the team to share the screen. Yeah. So we have a talk on importance of lakes in ecosystem by G.N. Padmaja, who is environment evangelist from Rotary Club of Hyderabad, Abhyuday. So this talk is scheduled on 26th October, that is upcoming Saturday at 11 a.m. And she's also going to explain about Hydra and like what is FTL, buffer zone, and all those things. And the next talk is on biomass and bioenergy and shaping a low carbon sustainable future. It is by speaker Lieutenant Colonel Monish Ahuja. It is on 2nd November, Saturday at 11 a.m. So as Vishwa has declared Hyderabad to be a zero waste city by 2027, We are bringing the topics that are into sustainability, into recycling, revamping, all those things. I wish this makes a difference in the society to all the audience that have joined or will be joining in the future sessions. There are many ways that you can choose a sustainable life. So please join in these sessions and make use of them. Yeah.
So I'm seeing a question from Soumya about Karna's character. Can I take a moment to answer that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
She says, in recent times, many movies and social media platforms have portrayed Karna as a hero while diminishing Arjuna's character. How do you view this shift in narrative, and what impact do you think it has on one's perception of these figures from Mahabharata?
Okay. So first of all, I completely disagreed with the portrayal of Karna as a hero in the movie Kalki, especially Kalki. There are many reasons. I can take an hour to talk about it, but essentially, I like the fact that Kalki movie has generated some interest in Mahabharata. I don't know what they aimed for, but if it has generated a lot of interest in Mahabharata, it's a positive outcome. But many people finally are essentially they are of the same opinion that it was wrong to portray Karna as a hero, simply because Karna was always on the side of the adharma. He might be a good person. Mahabharata has a lot of stories about good people siding the adharma side. Bhishma was a great person. Drona was a great person. But why are they fighting against dharma, against the god? God Krishna was fighting the Kauravas. Why are Drona and Bhishma fighting against the god himself? They know that Krishna is powerful and is an incarnation of Vishnu. In spite of knowing that they fought against dharma, why? Why did they do that? Karna is a classic case of totally confused soul. He didn't know where he belonged. He was a good person to some extent, but he was not a great person. He lost a war to Arjuna several times. How can he be better than Arjuna? There was a time when he saved Bhima's life. He trapped Bhima in a big way, and he did not kill Bhima because he promised Kunti that he will not kill 4 sons of hers except Arjuna. But Bhima, I read that story again and again. When Bhima was trapped in a very, very end of the day, at the very end of the day. And before that, Karna was himself trapped by Bhima a couple of times, 2 times. In that war, Bhima traps Karna and he was about to kill Karna. Karna just runs away from the battlefield. Right? Karna was a good person, but I don't think he's a great person. But it generated a lot of interest. So that's where we can end.
Yeah. We have Mr. Vishwa N, who has raised his hand.
Yes.
Sir, you can please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, Radhika. Hi, sir. Good, very good sections. A lot of inputs are there. So my doubt was, so in life, in life, there is a situation called uh, for every youngster, there is a situation for money versus goals. So there is one point of time you have the choice of going for money side, and at the same time you have the choice of going to goal side, which we don't have that much money, scope of money like that to earn something like that. So is there anything Mahabharata, any analogy or something related to these situations in life in Mahabharata? Can you please?
Yeah. So you take any Purana for that example of the 18 Puranas or Mahabharata, Ramayana. There's not an instance where money was identified as a culprit or a villain. I cannot find a single instance where money is treated as a bad thing. It is a socialism concept in India, or the inequality that is going on in India, that brought to the fore that money is a villain in the process. But in fact, our Puranas never said money is a problem. The way you handle money is a problem. So if you think goals and money are opposite sides of the same coin, you are incorrect. I don't agree with that. You can have goals that are aligned with your wealth goals, with your financial goals. There's nothing wrong about it. You cannot think that a wealthy person is an immoral person by default. You take Ratan Tata, for example. He's adored around the world today. He had a lot of money, but he is never considered a bad person in spite of having so much wealth. But in India, because of the inequalities, what we are seeing is wealthy people are obviously treated as bad people. They must have earned so much wealth because they did something bad. It's not necessarily that way. In Mahabharata and Ramayana also, when they talk about wealth, they talk about how you deal with wealth. As a young person, Janaka's story is there. For example, he had a lot of wealth. There was a point where he donated everything that he has. His entire palace was emptied. The last thing that he found out, there was one last person who came and he was asking, what will you give me? King goes into the palace, searches the entire and anything. He found two parts, clay parts, and he brought them to the stranger. So this is all I have left. I'm giving you this. Now tell me which fool will give all that money he has just like that? Who will give away money like that? Because he has no attachment with money. The second reason is he knows that he can make all that money again just like that. That's the confidence Janaka had. He says, I can earn that money back again. That's what Dharmaraja did during one of the events. Dharmaraja donated so much money, so much, he gave away so much money. He fed so many people. There's this yantram at that time that Dharmaraja employed. That yantram is placed at at a suitable place in the hall. And every time 1 lakh people completed their meal, the bell would ring. That yantram would make a sound. And this description was given by none other than Duryodhana, describing the event to Dhritarashtra. Duryodhana was telling, this yantram was making a sound throughout the day non-stop. See how many people he fed. Right? The relationship with money is very important. How you manage your money is very important. But having money, generating wealth in itself is never bad. So if you have goals, go after goals, money will follow you. If you are chasing money, chase money by all means, but don't be adharmic. Don't earn money by bad means because it will go away in the same way, is what our Puranas are telling us. There are lots of stories around this.
So, thank you, sir. And just one more question, sir. So, the next question is about decision making. In decision making, there are sometimes uh, majority versus minority will be like somewhat. I mean to say that some people will be affected by the decision, and some people will not affected by the decision. So, so how can we take decisions effectively? I hope you understand this.
Yeah, so again, when taking a big decision in life, remember I talked about how Dharmaraja in the middle of the war, he goes to elders and seeks their permission to start the war. Remember? So what you need is when you are taking decisions, whether it is Pandavas, Rama, or any big name that you take in Mahabharata and Ramayana, they always had mentors. When you are looking for achieving something in life, get a mentor first. Find a guru who can guide you, who has seen life, who has traveled in the path that you want to travel. Right? Identify that person, make him your guru, make him your mentor, and he will guide you. Right? Decision making is not easy, especially when you are a teenager. Right? Rama was very young. He could not decide whether he should go with Vishwamitra or not. Who helped him take that decision? Vasishta told him, you can go with Vishwamitra, he can be trusted. Janaka tells him, yes, you can take that decision. Rama did not take that decision on his own. When Rama was about to get married to Sita, Vishwamitra instructed him, get married to Sita. He said, my father asked me to follow whatever you said. I will marry Sita, but will you also inform my parents? See the beauty? See, what you should be doing as a young person is, you should find a mentor. You should find someone who can guide you. At the end of the day, you will take your own decisions. But do you have someone who can guide you? That's important.
Hope that answered your question, Mr. Vishwa.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Question. So we have a question from Ms. Bhavana. Sir, need your valuable insights on how a young entrepreneur with big dreams of contributing to society can share them and their thought process and develop the qualities necessary for success. Are there any established approaches, key qualities you believe they should focus on to making a meaningful impact and success?
Okay. So being very young and being lot of dreams, lot of ambitions, lot of goals is always a good thing. There's nothing wrong about it. You see the lives of all the heroes in Mahabharata, they had great goals. Abhimanyu is the greatest example of how many dreams he had in his life, how powerful he became in a very short time. Right now, what are the qualities of a good leader? We talked about some qualities earlier, but there is one slokam that I really like, and I ask all my Soham leadership members to learn and master. Is this slokam? Buddhir bhalam yashodhairyam nirbhayatvam arogata ajadyam vakpatutvam cha hanumat smaranat bhavet. Hanuma is an example of the greatest talent. There is nothing that he could not achieve. As a young person also, he wanted to reach the sun. He thought it was a madhuraphalam. And then he went up, tried to grab sun and eat it as if it's a fruit, right? He was so ambitious. But what are Hanuman's qualities? Buddhi, intellect. He had a strong intellect. He was able to take decisions, vichakshana, the discrimination power. He had identifying between what is good and what is bad, not only identifying what is good and bad, what is bad, but sticking to what is good. That is the buddhi that one needs as a leader. Buddhir bhalam, physically he was very strong. The other word that comes after it is arogata. He was never sick. He was always fit. Right? Fitness is an important criteria to achieve goals. You cannot be unfit or physically weak and aim for big things. So Hanuman is an example of bhalam, strong will, and also arogata. He was never sick. Yashodhairyam, he was very brave when it comes to taking decisions, even if he failed, in spite of strong buddhi, even if he failed, he was okay with it. He was taking risks. He knows he can take risks and handle them. Buddhir balam yashodhairyam nirbhayatvam. He was never afraid of taking decisions. Right? So try to do a little more research on this sloka. Buddhir balam yashodhairyam nirbhayatvam arogata ajadyam vakpatutvam cha. Ajadyam is about laziness. He was never lazy. If you are a very ambitious person and if you are lazy, they don't work. They cannot go hand in hand. Right? So understand those qualities and the 16 qualities of Rama, beautiful things.
We have Mr. Prasad Surpanani raised his hand.
Okay.
So you can unmute yourself and ask your question, sir.
Yeah, Sadhya garu, very well presented, and the way you have kind of subcategorized and explained each context and the relationships is so overwhelmingly so nice, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks to Vishwa also for having brought up such a wonderful topic. Like your observations on Karna actually made me further reflect. See, I shall say it's like a victim. Karna, in a way, has. I mean, it's like a victim card. I'll tell you why I'm making that observation. See, in our country, Karna's character and has been really immortalized and so much praised. None other than our great N.T. Ramarao garu has portrayed Dana Veera Sura Karna. So, no wonder that goes down in people's memory. It conditions us so much, and that is how the character Karna has gained that sympathy. I will say sympathy and adoration.
Yes, sir.
For whatever for the good. I mean, it's like this. I'm not saying definitely not against that. Karna is a great character, but somehow he has been eulogized so much because of the credit goes to, I will say, to Ms. N.T. Ramar also. Secondly, one more thing is, sir, if you see, because I love to listen to Kunti Vilapam, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, is such a poignant portrayal of the mother, Kunti, feeling so sad, leaving that Karna in the, not to face that criticism from the society and all. So all these things make Karna look like a victim. and that is how the character gains sympathy. So probably I'm only. So what
Yes,
do you
sir.
have to say on?
So,
Yeah.
Karna's story is a really complicated story. But again, what I see is Dana Veerasura Karna, the Danam part, there is a problem for me also. He was portrayed as a Dana Veera. Like, he's a Veera, he's a warrior, great warrior, understood. Sura, understood. But Danam part, I'm not able to understand because I'm not able to find a story anywhere in entire Mahabharata where he was donating things to people, right? I didn't find many instances, right? We find more instances of Dharmaraja doing it, but not Karna. The
Yeah.
only instance that they show is when Indra came to him, asked for his Kavacha Kundalas, he gave them, right? But that was not Danam. It was an exchange. There's a big difference between giving away something to someone without any expectation whatsoever, Danam. But if you expect something in return, or if you take something in return from them, it is not dhanam anymore, it is an exchange. In this case, he gave his Kavacha Kundalas, but he took the Shakti weapon from Indra in return to kill Arjuna.
Oh, much. Okay. Okay.
Right? Then how does it become dhanam? Why
Yes.
why is it portrayed as the greatest dhanam ever? It's not. Right?
Yes.
Kunti suffered quite a bit in the entire process. He knows the son is right in front of him. He saw him so many. She saw him so many times, but he could not stop. She could not stop. Could never go to Dharmaraja and tell him he was my son. Right? He never did that. In the end, Dharmaraja, when he comes to know that Karna was his elder brother, was born to Kunti, Dharmaraja gives a ghoramaina sapam, sapam to
Curse.
Kunti Devi, telling her, I will give Shapam to the entire lady fraternity, that they will never be able to hold secrets in their lives.
Yes, all going to well explained. Very going to extremes actually. Yeah, and perhaps one more thing quickly, sir. Like you have another is also known in a very positive was an embodiment of friendship. I think Karna that we can give that marks, I believe, because he stood for friendship and loyalty. He was so loyal to his
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
he got the due respect from probably from the respect he got from Duryodhana. Probably did not get from his own brothers. Maybe that's what made him. Yeah.
There is absolutely that friendship. Remember, we talked about what makes friends. For that matter, why
Yeah.
do friends become friends?
Yeah.
In this case,
Yeah.
there is a win-win for everyone. Duryodhana wanted someone powerful, and Karna wanted some place to hide, some refuge in a big place.
Okay.
They both got it, right?
Right.
The bonding was greatest because of that.
Right.
There was an opportunity for everyone to quit and go to the other camp. Dussasana never had that option. Sekuni never had that option. Karna also did not have that option. Even when Kunti approached him, there was no option. Right? He would not have shifted overnight to the Pandava camp. That would have made him see. That's why he's probably a good person.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
he insulted Draupadi was
Yes.
remarkable in many ways for its utterly atrocious language he used against Draupadi. Right?
Okay.
How is he a good person? In that way, I would
Yes.
preserve that,
Yes.
use that word good person also carefully.
Yeah.
There's this question from one more person asking me about why did Dronacharya and Bhishma align with Kauravas, and what were they doing at the time of Draupadi Vastrapaharanam? Right? They were
Yes.
there. They were utterly helpless because the ruler at that time was Dhritarashtra and his son Duryodhana. They were the rulers. And these are the peacekeepers who could have intervened and immediately said, stop this nonsense, take that lady to that other room, send her respectfully to her place. They could have easily done that. Bhishma should have gotten up and said, stop this nonsense. I will stop it right now. If you don't stop it, I will bring my weapons and stop it. He could have done that. Dronacharya could have done that. They did not do it. The reason why they did not do it is because they are not kings. But they could still have done it. They could still have done it. And because of that reason, they died a violent death in Mahabharata war.
Yeah.
There was a punishment for that. If you are capable of handling a sin and preventing a sin from happening in the first place, and if you don't do it,
yes,
there is a punishment for that also. And Bhishma and Drona paid for it.
Yes, sir. You have very well explained. So thought-provoking. Only one small, just a suggestion, sir, nothing beyond. See, there is one book by Mr. Anand Neelakantan. His first book was on Asura. It gives you, he gives a perspective of Ravana. Ramayana from the perspective of Ravana. If you, I would just request you to, I mean, it makes for some wonderful reading. It's not that, yeah. So
Yes.
please,
There,
he
there
was
are
my,
there are books, a
yeah,
number of books written about Ramayana and Mahabharata. One
yeah.
of the worst books that ever written is Ramayana Vishavriksha, right?
Oh,
Ramayana
oh,
Kalparvriksham was written by Viswanath
yeah,
Satyanarayan Garu, but Ramayana
yes.
Vishavriksham was written by a lady who had
Oh,
nothing good to say about Rama. There was one
oh,
person asking about concept of King Rama, still relevant, ideal king, Rama still relevant. Yes, it is still relevant, provided you understand what is the ideal kingdom that Ramarajyam envisaged. What does it mean?
mm,
It means a lot of things,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
a lot of things are not followed to this day. If you follow them as it is not Sharia court law. You're not talking about that. Ramarajyam is not about that. Ramarajyam, when they talk about Ramarajyam, they say that Ramarajyam lasted for 11,000 years. He established systems that are so strong, so powerful, they lasted for 11,000 years. Now, to this day, there is not a village in India where there is no Rama temple. How do you ever explain the greatness of Rama in simple words? Such a powerful person, such a powerful impact for generations and generations, thousands of generations, thousands of years.
Wow.
Such a powerful impact he had on Indian society. What else is the alternative to Ramarajya?
Yes, yes, sir.
Nothing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. So very well explained. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, shall we continue for some more time? Radhika, I'm seeing a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
questions in the chat also. Everything and anything
Yeah,
is
yeah,
fair
please.
in love and war. Please explain, sir. Can this statement is apt true in all
Can
circumstances,
it
and
be
can it be blindly taken for granted?
can taken for
Right. See, the way Indian wars were fought before the Mughals invaded India, there were rules that we followed when fighting wars. Mahabharata war started early in the morning. When the sun rises, they all assembled at one place. One would blow the conch and say, let's start the war. And the war started. And when the sun sets, one more time the conch is blown and the war stopped. There were clear rules. The rules were, if you hit a person and the person falls down and collapses and becomes unconscious, you cannot kill him. If a person surrenders and runs away from the battlefield, you cannot kill him. There were clear rules. There was nothing like everything and anything is fair. It's not. But the way Abhimanyu was killed, they did not follow any rules. One boy, 18-year-old perhaps, was attacked by greatest warriors, including Dronacharya, Karna, Duryodhana. They were all around this boy, single boy. He never stopped fighting till his last breath. Was it right? They thought anything is and everything is fair in war and love. They paid a huge price for killing Abhimanyu that way. Right? They all went back when Pandavas started killing Kauravas in a big way. They never followed adharma. They followed dharma. In a dharmic way, they killed them. But they said, you have broken all the laws of war when it comes to killing Abhimanyu. But they did not follow adharmic war. Right? So, in as far as Puranas are concerned, it is not that everything is fair. It's not. They had clear rules. Did Draupadi's vow of revenge fuel the war, or was it solely about dharma? Good question. You look at any major wars, whether it is Ramayana and Mahabharata, it revolved around a woman, right? Kidnapping of Sita, kidnapping of ill treatment of Draupadi, right? Did it trigger the war? Maybe yes, maybe not. But at the end of the day, adharma got defeated by dharmic forces in every event. Now, there's an interesting story, interesting part in Ramayana. When Sita was kidnapped and Rama goes there and defeats Ravana and brings back Sita, he talks to Sita in a very harsh way. He says, I saved you and brought back. Why did I bring you back? The world, entire world will think that the Rama's dynasty, Ikshvaku Vamsam, will never be forgiven for the fact that they were not able to protect their women. That is why I saved you. I brought you back. See how powerful it was? It was about defeating adharma, but it is also about the honor of the dynasty. Right? So there's so many things to learn from this Ramayana and Mahabharata. Beautiful things. I have Srivani ma'am raising her hand.
Yeah, my question was when you said Abhimanyu was killed in the wrong, not following the rules of war. Is it true that Arjuna did not follow the rules of war when he killed Karna, because Karna got off his chariot and was changing his wheel when Arjuna killed Karna?
Right. So there are actually 3 instances. You mentioned only one instance of adharma, what is perceived to be adharma. In the first case about killing of Bhishma, the way Bhishma was killed was also kind of adharmic. Not entirely adharmic, but what happened in the case of Bhishma was Bhishma had a vow that he will never fight a woman or a transgender. In this case, that person Sikandi, right? So Arjuna stood behind Sikandi and started pouring arrows on Bhishma. Bhishma was fighting, making sure his arrows go only towards Arjuna, but not towards Sikandi. They were still fighting a war, except that Arjuna was fighting from behind. Right? Was this adharma? The way Krishna explains and the way Arjuna explains about this is, this person, Bhishma, cannot be defeated by any other way. His defeat is important for dharma to win. And therefore, for the war to end, for the dharma to win, a small sacrifice is probably okay. It's a justification that we hear. Same thing happened in the case of Dronacharya. When he was killed, Yudhishthira was lied about the death of son. Ashwadhama atah kunjaraha is a slogan that we hear many times. Right? But again, there are 2 people in Mahabharatam that can never be defeated no matter what. And those 2 people were Bhishma and Dronacharya. They can never be defeated no matter what. And therefore, even in the case of Bhishma, Sri Krishna himself steps into the battlefield owing to kill Bhishma. He promised that he will not participate in war, but he is bent on Dharma's win. Therefore, he was ready to kill Bhishma. Even the Lord himself, the king, the God himself, is compromising on Dharma for Dharma's eventual win. Now, in the case of Karna's killing, Karna was talking about all good things. You have to be nice, you have to be moralistic. But who is Karna to talk about morals? The way he handled Draupadi, the way he handled Abhimanyu, the way Abhimanyu gets killed is the most atrocious event that you can ever imagine in Mahabharata. When that thing happened, Arjuna asked him, who the hell are you to talk about morals? You are about to die in my hands. You run away from the battlefield, you would have saved him. He did not run away from the battlefield because his ego was hurt. If I run away from the battlefield, how can anyone treat me as a hero? Therefore, I'm not running away from the battle. Had he run away from the battle, he would have been saved. Had he shown his feet, the back, says, I surrender. He did that many times, but not for Arjuna. Even for Karna, even for Bhima, he said, I surrender, let me go home. He went home. He rested and came back. He would have done the same thing for Arjuna. He did not do that. What killed him is his ego, not the adharma. Right? He was fighting. Even when standing on the ground, he was still fighting. And he got killed.
There's so many new age fiction stories coming on Ramayana and Mahabharata with their own interpretations, like Palace of Illusions and all. What is your opinion on that?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I understood your question.
ఈ మధ్య కొత్త వాళ్ళు చాలా మంది యంగ్స్టర్స్ ఫిక్షన్ రాస్తున్నారు ఆన్ మహాభారత రామాయణ
Yes.
అండ్ ఆల్. Have you read any of those books?
I read Amish Tripaঠি's 3-volume series.
Okay.
It's a good fictionalized story of a story of our mythology. He had his own interpretations. He had his own way of doing it. I don't personally find any fault with it. I should not think in terms of banning them or not ill-conceived kind of things. I don't think. As long as they generate interest in dharma, as long as they generate interest in our epics, I'm all for it. Right?
Thank
So,
you.
there's another question about Parashurama is there in both Ramayana and Mahabharata. How is it possible? The concept is fairly complex for me to understand also. Parashurama is there both in Ramayana and Mahabharata. Not only Parashurama, but you'll also find other people that were there in both the ages. The way they explain it is, if you understand the age concept during Mahabharata and Ramayana times, if you notice that Bhishma was about 120 or 140 years when he was fighting the war. But at the same time, the people who are older than Bhishma's mother, was also alive at the end of the Mahabharata war. She must be around 150 or 175 years, right? So the concept of age, when they decide to go for when they decide not to participate in the wars and they don't fight the wars, they continue to survive for a very, very long time. And those are the people. There's one concept I heard, and I'll talk about it briefly. When you breathe, and the number of times you breathe in a minute decides your life. A dog breathes too many times and it cannot live beyond 12 years. But a tortoise lives for 200 years, and therefore, the reason is it breathes very slowly, maybe four times a minute. They have mastered in the past, especially the rishis of the Parashurama kind, they mastered it. They can breathe only once per a day. And that's the explanation I heard. If you breathe only once per day, the number of years that you can survive is huge. But do I really know if Parashurama lived for 1,000 years or Rama lived for 10,000 years? I cannot say because I did not see it practically. But what Puranas tell us, I believe them. Our Puranas authors were intellectually honest. They were never dishonest about what they were saying. So they were not lying. Except that we don't understand what or how it is possible.
There's another question by Anvesh. Why was Barbarika beheaded and kept aside by Krishna in Mahabharata?
Okay, I must confess I'm not able to recall this name Barbarika at this time.
Barbarika Andi, I think he was one of the sons of Pandavas, if I'm not wrong.
Ghatotkacha's son.
Ghatotkacha's son, and he's got the power that no matter what he says, I mean, he would have won the war himself, but Krishna wanted to follow the right process.
Okay.
So he beheaded his head, but Barbarika requested that he would like to see the Kurukshetra war. So on a hill, his head was put so that he could watch the entire war from where he was. He had a boon that he could finish a war in a second.
Okay, so this is a story that is, at least to my understanding, is not a prominent part of the Vyasa Bharatam. There is Bharatam written in multiple places. You find references to Bharatam coming from Devi Puranam or some other places, and these references are made. But I'm not well versed with that person at that time. But there are stories that are impossible to comprehend. For example, when Arjuna dies in the hands of his own son, at the end of the war, he goes to some Ashwamedha Yagam is performed, and he goes there. Babruvahana is the name that I immediately recall. Babruvahana kills Arjuna. He had a momentary death, and he's saved again. But there are stories like this, but I'm still not able to see where this fits in the big picture. But this is a research topic for me. I'll do a little more research on this.
Yeah. One of our teammates is asking a question. Could Ravana's downfall have been avoided if he had listened to Vibhishana's counsel?
It's the same thing. What is common across all the bad people is they don't listen. Whether it is Ravanasura or Duryodhana or Dusasana, you take any bad person, for example, Hiranyakasipu, he was given a sage advice by hundreds of people telling, Arey, don't mess with him, you will die. Ravanasura was also given the same thing, same counsel. Even of the 100 brothers of Kauravas, Duryodhana is one of the youngest brothers, is named Vikarna. During the Draupadi Vastrapaharanam, if there is anyone who spoke up against this Draupadi's insult, was Vikarna. He was a Kaurava. He said, stop this nonsense. Why are you humiliating a woman in this court? Our ancestry is such a powerful ancestry. Why are we doing this? Why can't we stop this? Did Duryodhana listen to him? Did Duryodhana listen to his own father? Vinasakale viparita buddhihi is what people say. When Vinasanam is certain, Buddhi goes in a viparitam manner. It does not listen to anyone. So again, same thing. Ravana's downfall, had he listened to Vibhishana, he would have been saved. Absolutely, he would have been saved. Rama gave him 3 warnings. Rama told him, Are give back Sita, I'll go back home, you will not die. He did not listen. He sent Hanuman, he sent Vali's son Angad, go and convince him. Are listen, yaar, bach jayega. No, he did not pay any attention. Why would he pay attention when his death is going to happen very soon? Right?
Yeah. This is a question in Mahabhinishkramana Parvam. When Dharmaraja loses all his brothers and his wife while journeying to Himalayas, he later arrives in Swargalokam and is surprised to find Kauravas there. Why do you think those who followed Adharma were granted a place in Swargalokam?
Okay, so this is the question that was asked many times in Mahabharata itself. Even Dharmaraja himself was surprised to find all the Kauravas in the heaven. Right? What our Puranas are consistently telling us is, if you die for your country, or if you die fighting for your side, good or bad, you will go to heaven. Right? That's why in India, the soldiers, when they fight, they have the slogan Har Har Mahadev, and they go into the war in a big way. Right? There is this thing that is created in the Puranic history of India, that if you fight and die in a battle, you go to heaven. And that is what is shown. Right? All these people, they died in a war, therefore they go to heaven. But what they did not tell you is, how long will they stay in heaven? Right? They will stay in heaven only as long as that karmic thing is settled. Then they are pushed back away from the heaven. There's a big story on a person who goes to heaven, but after some time he gets kicked out. He asks, why am I getting kicked out? Your punyam has diminished. It has come to 0. Your bank balance is 0. Therefore, get out. There are a number of stories. They talk about these people going to heaven, but how long will they stay there is never answered. They will not stay there for long.
Yeah. This is a question. Any comments on the way Rama shot Bali on his back? It may look unjust, but what is dharmic lesson there? Both Vali and Sugriva had done wrongs. Why Rama still side with Sugriva? Is it just because Sugriva approached Rama first?
Okay, so this is a question that is repeatedly asked when it comes to Ramayana. Why did Rama kill Vali in such a bad way? There's a simple explanation that Rama gives. I am the king, right? And you are an animal. One simple logic he gives is, you are an animal. When I go for hunting, I don't take the permission of the hunted, in case a deer or a monkey or whatever it is. I don't take their permission to kill them, number 1. Number 2, I don't have to face them to kill them. I can kill them from behind a tree. In this case, Vali is an animal. Now, when Vali gets killed, Rama offers his lap for Vali to bend on. And Vali asks Rama, if you wanted Ravana, I could have put him in under my armpit, brought him and thrown him in front of you, and he would have taken your forgiveness and you would have returned Sita. Why didn't you take my help? My brother is such a weakling. Why did you take his help? He said, Vali, you're uttering all the morals right now. Is it right to steal your own brother's wife? You took away his wife. She is staying with you. You did not return to him. You did not return his wife to him. Is that right? Any person who is talking about dharma should have a right in the first place to talk about dharma. He did not have any moral right to question Rama. Right? Rama has given a number of examples. You committed a sin, and the biggest reason why Vali was killed from behind the trees is Vali had a boon. The boon is if anyone stands in front of him and starts fighting him, Vali would get half of the 50% of the other person's power to him. Rama is such a powerful person. If Vali gets 50% of that power, what will happen to this world? Rama had the dharmic compulsion to protect his power from going to other people. Why would he do that? Why would he face him face to face? Why would he fight him face to face? So there are many things. There are many sukshmas that you should understand, and the intellectual capability or the intellectual honesty of these people can never be questioned. We are very ordinary people to question them, right?
Yeah. Sir, can you conclude this session with a beautiful message for this aged teenagers or youth?
You should read Ramayana and Mahabharata, everyone. There are so many things, our mind has certain wirings that happen in it. They are wired in a certain fashion. The moment you start reading Ramayana and Mahabharata, the wiring gets changed a little bit, right? That wiring, for it to change to something beautiful, you should read Ramayana and Mahabharata, especially Ramayana and Mahabharata. Then you can go to Bhagavatam and other sources. But I strongly believe that you should read them, especially in your own mother tongue. Okay. Thank you so much for a wonderful participation from everyone today. I enjoyed it very much, talking about things that impressed me all my life, that things that have changed me permanently in many ways, especially Ramayana and Mahabharata. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to share my insights into these topics. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your valuable time and your interest in spreading these things. Yeah. Yeah, and thank you to all the participants who have joined today's session. It is so happy and heartfelt to see all of you who are eager to know about our epics, our history, our mythology, whatever you call it. But I feel these are real and we have to learn a lot from them. And thank you all for joining. And please take a moment to subscribe to Vishwa Talks on LinkedIn, Facebook, and other platforms to get alerts on all the talks, events that we conduct. Yeah, see you all next week. Sir, I request you to join in the breakout room. That link is on your screen.
It's not there now. When I saw it, I clicked on it. I went there and I was alone and I came back. Can you send me that request again?
So Ganita has joined in.
Can you send me that request again? I'm not seeing it on my screen.
Yeah, we are trying. They're creating another breakout room, sir. Just give us a few seconds.
Okay.
Sir, room is active now. You can join in.